All right, my name's Andrew. I am the DJ and music director for the Santa Cruz Warriors, the G League affiliate of Golden State Warriors, and I'm just going to run you through how I do Sports Sounds Pro setup for basketball. As you can see on here, this is my setup at the arena. I run the in-house sound, so I run the volumes for all the microphones, PA, anthem, also any audio coming from the video board. I'm doing that as well. The computer in the middle, that is my Sports Sounds Pro computer that I'll go into my setup there. That runs all my prompts and my in-game scripted show. And then as you can see, there's a small DJ controller and another computer and a monitor there. So for that, I'm running maybe t-shirt tosses, I'm running player warm-up mixes, walk-in mixes, halftime mixes, basically your little less scripted stuff, anything in which there's a little bit of a showcasing aspect of the DJing, or generally just to kind of smooth out playing song to song. And that is my overall setup. So I'm going to go into my Sports Sounds Pro because as you can see, I'm doing a lot while the game's going on by running the audio and DJing. A lot of times this can be divided into 2 or 3 different people. But for me and for at a minor league event, this works. And so I'm going to go into my Sports Sounds Pro setup so you can see how streamlined I get it. So going into Sports Sounds Pro, if you're not familiar, each one of these letters is a different bank. Banks A through E for me are individual games. They keep a 5-game rotation so that I don't repeat stuff. And it also works as a backup if for some reason one of my computers goes down, I can run the entire game off my Sports Sounds Pro. It won't be as clean as running off the dual computers, and vice versa. I can run a game off my Serato if need be. That one is much tougher, but I always bring 3 computers, so there's a backup, so one can at least keep running while I set up the other one. So going into Sports Sounds Pro, as you can see up at the top, that is today's script. That's the most important thing, and that is just the songs based off the script that they send me for that day. I put it at the top so that if something changes or they call out a scripted element, I can just jump right back up there. I know it. It's the easiest thing to find. Into timeout, big play reaction is the second one. That is when the game stops and it goes into timeout, and we are reacting to a big play that we have done. So that's this is how we do it, and jump around and so on and so forth. Those are your most popular ones that you'll hear at every arena. So that's that kind of vibe. Out of timeout, high energy, that is just your out of timeout music coming out of your scripted elements. T-shirt tosses are your t-shirt tosses. Pumps are your bumps and pumps, like Welcome to the Jungle, Hell's Bells. All of those kind of generic ones, plus some other EDM ones and all that. That's in there. Walk-in music, like I said, if my computer were to go down, walk-in music can fill up what I'm going to play for walk-in and just fill the air so there's no dead silence. Today's pregame is when we start going into more scripted elements. You'll see mascot entrance. So what's good about this is when I'm doing my walk-in music, they'll be like, all of a sudden over comm, they'll be like, mascot's doing an entrance. And you're like, okay, crap, we got to go right now. And so I just keep that open, jumps right into there. Then I'll go back usually into walk-in music while on my DJ controller. Then players will come out for warm-ups. I have a backup player warm-up mix just in case anything were to happen. Then from there, I'm pretty much in here. I'm using these page markers to really differentiate and kind of give me a heads up and a way to just paint by number. So I'm using a column system, so I go down. I go down and then left to right. So this is one thing, entrance. This is the last 20 seconds of entrance. Filler before anthem. If there's no anthem showing, they're here. And then I leave a little note to myself, make sure anthem's mic's on, no music, no sound. So I make sure that all my to-do lists of my mixing board is all written there. Then basically the script just goes all the way down. And then this gets me from filler to tip-off song. And then I jump right into first quarter in-game. What you can see here is that there is a color coding system. These light green are your prompts, offensive prompts. Very basic stuff from the top over here. And then I use the light yellow to do offensive instrumentals for this quarter. Dark green is defensive prompts. That's your defensive drums. Your standard defensive prompts that you'll use there. And then this bottom one right here is into timeouts. Now, I'm usually going to play that off Serato, but what this does is this is just some options for into timeouts that will fill the air if it's not a big play. So this is just kind of generic. And you'll see here, moving on up, and Tattletales. This is because in my script, we're going into the moving on up, I think, is for seat upgrade, and then the Tattletales is we're going into some sort of game show kind of game, so I'm going into game show music. The rest of these are just kind of fillers that are more neutral, that we can go in positive or negative, and it doesn't quite change anything, that fit really well for first quarter. Same thing goes over to the second quarter, same similar setup, same look, so you're not confused. Then more into timeout music at the bottom. And so then I've got my halftime music, and then I've got my halftime, and I've got my halftime performance. I will throw two versions of the halftime performance, one running off of my computer, and that is the main one, this one. And then I have Serato running one at the exact same time, so that if one were to go down, I just switch over and I've got the second one. I do that same thing if an anthem doesn't show. But then once again, there's not much music in here. I'm only using it for my into halftime and my halftime performance. The rest of it is just filler, just in case. Players return from half, same thing. Third quarter and fourth quarter, it just stays in that same idea. Within my fourth quarter high energy music, anyone who's done basketball knows that fourth quarter you can go timeout, 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 timeout. You can do like 8 timeouts all in a row and all super, super sudden. So this one actually comes in really handy compared to just Serato. For me, I'll have Serato going, and I'll have the stuff easy to prep in my Serato, and I have a fourth quarter music crate and what I want to play today crate. So I can pull from there, but this is just super helpful when you've done overtime or double overtime and you've just blown through timeouts. Bumps and pumps are the same thing, as those are just the pumps going out of timeout. Plays under review, self-explanatory, but I wanted to keep that up front so I could jump in and I can change different versions based on what kind of review we are doing. I also will have my hot cues. You'll see here, these are all hot cued to my keyboard because that'll happen instantly and you don't know where you are in the first quarter and they'd fill up too much of my game script. So I have those just hot cued. So block happens, I just hit B, easy. With Sports Sounds Pro, you can do another thing. So say you have a block that happens right after that. Instead of going in and changing the hot cue to another one, which I will do, you can just hit Control B, and it just comes out from under the bottom of it. And that works the same for jump balls and individual player prompts. So I've got that up top. My F1 through 7s are all individual stings. Just basic stuff that you need to get to right off the bat. So I've got a bunch of stuff, traveling, free throws made. We do a seals thing. So anything that I need to get to is hot cued. And that's basically it with my post-game bed of music, but once again, post-game running off of Serato. So the main thing I just wanted to show was how I set this up, because this is so helpful by having all of your offense and defensive prompts and your into timeouts all on the same page and having different pages per game and then having 5 different games worth of that. So it's super helpful. If you're not already doing it that way, I highly recommend it. And then what I'm saying is I'm not sticking to those just for every 5 games. I'm basically re-upping the into timeout songs and filling those. I've built in A through E is what I'm playing in game. My F, G, H, I, and J is actually where the music that isn't A, B, C, or D is back cataloged. So F is by feel. So here's my generic games: game show, dunk, mascot. So how it feels when I play it: floss cam, dance cam. G is by genre. So if I'm like, okay, I need something current, I need some EDM, I need a throwback, I need a Latin song, I can pull from here live in show pretty easily. And then you'll see stuff for specific like giveaways and transportation. So if we're doing a car thing, I'll have something ready for that. And this way it just cuts down on my prep work day of, because I've already built out these big beds. I is instrumentals. So I have an instrumental to chorus thing. This is if we're doing a read, and say, just if you're doing a read, you can have the instrumental going, and then if you want to come out of the read, you come out with the actual song. So it's super clean that way. Then there's just your generic instrumentals based on genre, and then instrumentals based on decade. So if we're doing 90s night, I can just run all 90s instrumentals for in-game and games, etc. So, and then J is just junk. That's just random stuff that you accrue over the years that don't really have a spot, but you're like, maybe I should put this somewhere. So that is how I set up my Sports Sounds Pro. If you have any questions, that I will not play anymore. If you have any questions about it, feel free to hit me up at Andrew Rivas DJ on all Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever. So I hope that helps, and would love to see how you set yours up or what you think could be better about this. So thank you, and hope that helps.